All right. Hello, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm Deidre Yonce with the South Carolina Department of Education, Office of Health and Nutrition. And I wanted to go over how you can create a trustful relationship with the state between the State Department and school food authorities. I'll give you a little background on it. In 2019, our State Department actually went in and created or proposed a grant to USDA about annual review training and implementation grant. Um, we did get it, the grant, and we put it into play at the end of 2019, we were able to put it into play. With this, um, and the reason behind doing it is because, everybody has those dreadful ARs that we have every 3 years. And we wanted to build something for not only training purposes that they can use throughout the year, but also right before they get ready for their ARs. So what we did was we started a platform, which we call Food for Thought SC, Sustaining Training for Program Compliance. And so from there, that allowed us to look into procuring a program that we could offer our SFAs in addition to whatever point of sale that they're already using um, at their school level. So with that, we put out a bid. We got the program, and it has been awesome. It's not mandatory that our schools use it, but it's there for them to use. It's a wonderful tool. It helps them see that recipes are compliant. The program not only offers plenty of items for them to choose from, but it also gives them thousands of recipes that are already analyzed. The menu portion of it, creating menus, there's some that's already in there that they can kind of go off of, or they can create their own. But it has a wonderful tool to make sure that they stay in compliance, that they meet all the regs for that week. And then from there, it builds uh, production records, and it also helps them do a shopping list and a plethora of reports that they can pull at the end of the month to see where their program's growing, what they need, if they need to change any menus, to see what the kids like, what their dislikes, and also it helps saving money. If are we spending more time on stuff that they don't need to be, and it's not a big moving item, so let's change it up, or put something else in place that is less labor intensive and not as expensive, but the kids like it. So we were able to go in and offer this to our SFAs the beginning of this school year. Well, I said the beginning of the school year, the beginning of this year. We rolled it out in late February. We had a huge response, given the times that we're in right now with COVID, and two, it's toward the end of the school year. Most people are, already have their menus planned or whatever, but we had a ton of school districts go ahead and add into it recipes. A lot of them have went ahead and played around in the menus, creating menus, and a majority of them are going to start this summer, creating next year's menus and recipes to use. So we found that, my background is I've had over 20 years experience in food service. I've gone from working with a food distributor for 10 years, and then I've been in the school side of things, from manager to field supervisor to a director, and now I'm at the State Department. So I've kind of seen everything full circle. But we all know when we hear the State Department's coming, oh, everybody wants to run and, make sure everything's in order. This program that we offer them does that and more. So, we feel like sometimes from the State Department end that we're the bad guys, and we don't want that persona anymore. So what we did here in South Carolina was to offer this and to make it, to where we have a better relationship with the SFAs, that, hey, we're here to help you. We don't want to see your program not succeed. We want to see it to succeed and go even further. And one thing that we had noticed here in our state, that we were having some, ARs that weren't going, quite the way we'd like for them to. We were having a lot of them that were having some fiscal actions, a lot of corrective actions. And we believe, and from what we've seen, how this program has helped other school districts and other states, that this is really going to be something that they can use to help get these numbers down, that where we won't have any fiscal actions on school districts, and we won't have to have any corrective actions. Um, so, that was our whole goal. And so far, from the different rollout sessions that we've had, we have 186 school districts in our state. Plus, we have several RCCI nonprofits, things like that that are in our program as well. But it has been a huge, huge success thus far. We've had nothing but good comments on it. They're really enjoying it. They're starting to dig in, and they of course call me because that's my forte now, as I'm over the program. The ART is what we call it, grant, and it's a lot of them. They're digging in. They're enjoying seeing other menus from across the United States. Which is in this program. Plus, we're able to add our own, and so they can see, hey, there's our South Carolina. There's Greenville's, there's Lexington ones. There's, they actually get to put their stamp on something, and we get to share it throughout the state. And I would love to see this go to other states, so their state departments again don't have the bad, oh, here they come, let's get out our shields. But to help have a better relationship with our SFAs, because in all reality, we're all here for the same purpose: is to feed the kids, make sure we're doing it right, and we're here to help. And that's partly why I left from being a director to come into the State Department, was because I know all the behind the scenes, and I know how we used to feel, and I want to change that. And I knew I could help everybody from this position. So I have thoroughly enjoyed being here. And like I said, the benefits that we're seeing is that they get with the program is that they get to see and share recipes with each other throughout the state. They get to share menus. They can share menus with this. And then we've also created a new website that this is attached to, so they can go straight from our website straight into the program to run it. But there's also a little blog section, so they can all go in there and they can talk to one another and ask, hey, I tried this, it's not working, can you give me a different idea? Because we all know we don't have the same equipment in all kitchens, and not all equipment work the same or cook at the same temps and stuff like that. Some slower, some faster, and it gives them time to go back and forth with each other and give each other ideas, trade off. Because I know people in Horry County can't go 300 miles, 300 miles up the road to go to Greenville to see what they're doing. But this gives them a chance and a platform to do that. So I was looking at some of the questions. Let's see, Miss Teresa, can other states look the websites and the platform? They can see whoever's in on this program, who's bought into this program. They would have that possibility. Yes, you would have to buy into that program. And like I said, we see recipes from all over, whoever's in it, and then the other states can see our recipes. So yeah, you would have to buy into the program like you would your regular point of sale. We as a State Department got a grant to purchase it, and that's what's paying for it and allowing us to be able to give it to our SFAs for free. Now, I will say some of the pros and cons of this is it's not mandatory. It's here if they need it, but you know as well as I do, some people are set in their ways. They're, nope, I'm sticking with this program that I've got. We've already paid for it. No, 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 no. But it's not going to marry into a program, per se, but it would be an additional program for you to use. And that's the way we've sold it to them. And I was very surprised. It's hard to get people, when you're not there with them or checking in behind them, it's hard to get people to buy into stuff sometimes. But this was not a hard sell. It was not at all, especially the stuff it could do for their school districts, and to give them new ideas and new ways to use some of the products that they have. I mean, from your commodity products to your fresh produce, your fresh fruits and vegetables. I mean, it has been a lifesaver thus far that we've had it. But I know that we're looking forward to this coming school year to see who's really going to be using it a whole lot more. And like I said, we've only had a couple months, but thus far we've got at least, I would say, 25 to 30% of our school districts are in there, using it, whether it's just creating recipes, creating menus, um, just, just dawdling in it. But yeah, if y'all have any questions, put them in the chat and I will go through there and answer them best I can. I see I have another one. When you say buy-in, do you mean that there's a sponsor fee for participating or they need to opt in free of charge? No, I'm talking about when I say buy-in, I mean, it's hard to get directors. They've already, if you're a food service director, you've already got your point of sale. You've already got your system that you're using to do your back of the house stuff, your front of the house stuff, your inventory, creating your recipes and menus. This is an extra program that we purchased. So the buy-in is, when I'm saying that, is them, wanting to use it. Because a lot of people, they're like, why am I going to aggravate with another program when I already have mine? So, you know, a lot of the programs that school food service directors have, they have to put in the recipes themselves. And this program has that we've got. There's behind the scenes people at this with the system that has certified dietitians, and they go through the recipes and make sure they're in compliant. So we know all the recipes that are there, they're in compliant. So the buy-in is getting them to want to use two programs. That's what I mean when I say buy-in. But like I said, it has been a huge platform that we've started with training. That's another thing. There's a lot of videos that we've created off of this to help with training. So when we do go out and have ARs, we're able to pull it up right then and say, okay, this is where we see there's an issue with production records or what have you. We can pull it right there because it's cloud based. So I can go in and look at a school district before I even get there, and then I can show them, hey, here's where some of your numbers aren't, adding up, or here's where, you can see where you got a lot of food waste. So it's nice to have that. But it's a way of us being more in tune and more, they're helpful wise with districts to kind of give them an idea of where they're standing so we can see where we can help them if their programs having an issue. And again, we don't like going and taking money from school districts at all. My biggest thing is I like to catch, let's stop the fire before it starts. So that's where we take it. And just so we can be helpful to them. But I think getting a better relationship between the State Department and the SFAs is a huge, huge step for us. And I think it's very valuable, especially in, with school food nutrition, nationwide. I think that's where some people, they say school food gets a bad rap. It does, but we can change that. And, we are changing it. We've done a heck of a job. Y'all have done a heck of a job this year with COVID, with what we've lived through and continuing to live through. And the numbers are astounding of meals that have been fed to these babies. And that's the key thing. That's always been my number one goal is I want to feed as many kids as I can. And, this is one way of helping get it done. And like I said, this program is awesome. I can, you can reach out to me and, or if you got any other questions, please put them in the chat. But, yeah, it's been a wonderful experience and I would love to see other states get involved. And, I'd love to, help anyone that's thinking about that. But if anybody's got any questions or whatever, please put them in and I'll try to answer as best I can. When the grant funds run out, how do you plan on sustaining the program? That's a very good question. We're actually looking at that right now. We've got some changes within our office here to where we may be able to move some funds around to be able to still afford it for the school districts. I know with the grant, we're able to do it for 3 or either 5 years. So we know we've got it that long. But after that, as well as it's doing, I'm sure they will find the money to keep it going. But that's that's not in my wheelhouse. I will have to say, if it was up to me, I'd just give it to everybody all the time. But like I said, it is really it's really been a helpful tool thus far for the schools, and like I say, starting that relationship there. What advice do you have for food service directors to approach and create a great relationship with their state representatives? Wonderful question. Um, Call them. I have my own set of schools. I have 15 school districts that I oversee. I'm in constant contact with them all the time. I always tell them, my door, my phone, email, call me. It's open. I, you know, when in doubt, always call and ask. We would much rather you call and ask if you have a question that we can help you with before doing something and then, finding out later it was incorrect or it wasn't done the right way. Um, but, just being there, knowing that, letting us at the State Department, letting the directors know that we're here for them, and it's even for the little things, but keeping that open line of communication, that's the main thing. And directors feeling at ease to call us at the State Department. Just because we work for the State Department, doesn't mean we're bad guys. We don't want that mentality, and that's what we're trying to get away from. So, we want you to call us. We want you to, ask us questions, and we love coming out and seeing the schools. I'm so excited that we finally get to come back out this coming school year and seeing our people and going and seeing how school districts are doing and seeing their lines and how they've implemented these new recipes and menus that they're creating in this new program. We're so thrilled about that. And I really think, communication's key to that. Any more questions? Can you share the name of the company that you use for the program? I do believe I can. Can I, Kristen? We're using HealthyPro. It is it has been a game changer. It has been wonderful. And you can tell that HealthyPro was created by and designed by people who have truly been in school food service. And when I say that, you probably will know that sometimes we get point of sale programs that give you a lot of stuff that you really don't need. But this one here gives you just what you need. And it is, I mean, it doesn't give you the extra added fluff that, can cause some people to get a little, oh, that's just too many buttons or too much this. It is so user friendly. It is just so spot on with what um, managers, operators, any of them can jump on there and use this program. It is wonderful. Do all state representatives know about this grant? How can food service directors bring attention to this grant in their own state? This was a grant we actually wrote ourselves here with South Carolina. And it was, matter of fact, it was right before I was actually hired at the State Department. That's why I came over, was to be a part of the grant. It's exactly what I wanted to do, as in the training aspects, and building a platform to go out and help school districts before they got their ARs. We go out and help them, see where their problems lay and see how we can fix their issues. But we wrote the grant here, so I would say that any other state offices that would be interested in doing it, they could write the grant themselves and submit it to the USDA. That's how we did it, and you know, um, I'm sure it's available for anybody else to be able to do it and send it out. Can you share in a nutshell the requirements of the grant? The requirements of the grant was for us to, like I say, it's called the Annual Review Training Implementation Grant. So basically, what that is that, like I said, we go out. we're trying to, well, first of all, let me back up. This is to help get um, fiscal actions, corrective actions down. Our numbers were high for the state of South Carolina for a couple years, and USDA said, we need to do something about it. And so what we did was we wrote the grant to get the money to come up and create this training implementation, and it involved a Canvas portal that we're using to create trainings. Whether it's HACCP, we've got HACCP trainings, we've got civil rights, all the trainings that the schools need yearly. We even went so far as to, just new manager training, new director trainings. Everything's in this one spot, along with the HealthyPro system that we got to help them with their menus and their recipes to make sure that we're compliant, because we all know that's the main thing, is everybody's got to be in compliant, and that's what that does. And then on top of it, I was hired, and Nick, he's a chef. He was actually a professor at a school up north where he taught culinary school, and so he does the recipe end and some of the training end, and I do the HealthyPro in and going out and seeing the school districts and helping the directors and the managers. And that's what we do. We go out and we see how their program's running, seeing if there's any issues in their program, and show them how to get it fixed, so that when it's time in another year or two for their ARs to come up, we've already got those problems solved. So we're like an extra set of boots on the ground, being there and getting stuff in line, making sure that everything's running smoothly. Any more questions? What sort of tools do you recommend we as food service directors focus on first as we transition into the new school year? What sort of tools? That's a good question. Because from my end, we have a lot of waivers that we're looking at. Really, going into the new school year, I know with our state, we're back, to the full swing of things. Kids are going to be back, face to face, and which we have been actually since March. But I'm excited to see the lines back up. I know we're going to have to, there will be some e-learning students that, will have to do some bag lunches or the pre-made meals to send home. But I'm excited to see some scratch cooking come back, to see the lines set back up, and to see some new items, be put out for kids to try. And you know, again, that's another key thing is looking at your production records, your menus, your recipes. Those are your big tools. That's as you know as well as I do. Looking at a production record, you can see a whole how a school's doing and what their numbers and everything look like just from looking at production record, as long as it's spelled out correctly. But having those recipes and all that and trying new stuff, I mean, that's going to be it. And also giving your staff the credit, making sure that you tell them thank you. That's one thing I always do. I lead off all the time when I go to a school district. First thing I always tell them is thank you for what you do. You're not told enough. And letting your staff know how important they are to not only to your program, but mainly to the students. I mean, because you and I, we all know that that's probably on a lot of kids, the two hot meals that they get a day is what they get at school. So, just being ready to get back to, some sort of normalcy and get those good hot meals back to them. Are any of your districts having trouble with staffing in this new COVID environment? Yes. Do you have any suggestions for how we can fully staff safely or incentivize people to come back to work? I do know, like I said, yes, we have a lot of districts that are shorthanded. They've been shorthanded from the time it hit. Either people just scared to come to work, or people who were sick and they were out, had to quarantine. And then we had some that just they were just too scared to come back to work. Um, they've made it work. I know a lot of them have had to shut down lines. So schools that have 3 and 4 lines, especially at the high school, 3 or 4 lines open, they could only run two. Um, and they did have to go back to ready-made meals and stuff like that. But I do know that some of the school districts are, with the incentive of, them coming back to work, they are, one of them's purchasing their shoes and their uniforms for them, to help out. And they're also giving them extra days of vacation to use for the ones who do come back. So I mean, there's many different things. They just each district does it, differently. So, but and I know, of course, a lot of them, are still um, they're still pondering, whether they want to come back or not. But they're seeing a lot of them are seeing the thankfulness, because at the end of the school year, a lot of the schools here, they do little videos from the kids, thanking teachers, thanking the principals. This year, there was a lot of them thanking food service. It was so heartwarming and so touching to see those kids telling them, "Thank you for feeding me. Thank you for the good, the meals that I was able to get when I was still at home." And that made a big impact on a lot of the food service ladies. And I really hit home. So I think just that little bit kind of showed them how important that they are, and that they were seen. So, but I think that's a lot of them are going to start coming back, because it is going to be hopefully a little bit better, but especially with the vaccines and stuff. So I guess we shall see. But I'm wishing and praying for the best. What are some of the best experiences your district shared during COVID to keep morale up? Oh, so one of our school districts, they actually had 5 locations. This was when school was out. No kids, they would come by and pick up meals each week. And it was one day a week that they would come, and they would send home the breakfast and lunch for the whole week. Each week was a theme week, and they dressed up as characters every week. One week they were Spider-Man. There was the Marvel characters. I mean, full costume and everything. So here, these little kids are coming up to get their meals, and here's Spider-Man, here's the Hulk, here's, Batman. And then the next week, they would have like, it was one of the cartoons, PJ Mask. They all dressed up, the different PJ Mask little costumes. Then we had one, it was your favorite singer. So we had Dolly Parton there one day. We had Elvis was there. So they would send us these pictures, and they were, I mean, it was so good. And then, of course, the last day that they had it before school started back was how lunch heroes, not all heroes wear capes. And they actually had shirts made up, and it had a little cape on the back that was on it, but it says, it's not movable, but it still looks like a cape, but we're still heroes. And it was adorable. And those kids loved it. And it helped the employees too, because they were all fighting over who was going to wear the costumes, the director said. So it really, that was pretty neat. We also had down in the low country, we had a lot of restaurants want to, help and provide meals. So I know one of them was Highway 55. They actually 2 weeks out of the month, they would come, and they would, if you come and picked up your meal, they would give the kids, whoever was in there, they would give them a coupon to get a free hamburger or French fry for a meal. And then the last week of that month, they would actually bring hamburgers and French fries and serve the kids. It was an awesome, turnout for the community. But yeah, it's just little things like that. And just, I was trying to think, there was one in Greenville. Greenville, actually, they would do barbecues once a month. They would do barbecue ribs. They would, do, brisket and stuff like that. So that was pretty neat to have something a little different, for the kids to be able to partake in. And it would be, these guys would have these big pits and they would roll them out. So when you pulled up, they said you could just smell it, wafting in the car as they were waiting to get their meals. So that was pretty big for them. They enjoyed that a lot.
All right, I'm going to join in here a little bit and just thank Deidre for being so amazing. I've had the opportunity to work with Deidre here. So I'm Kristen. I'm the success manager here at HealthyPro, and Deidre and I have been spending the past several months together working on just engaging with these districts. And I just want to be the first to shout out to Deidre. What a magnificent example of a state really reaching out to provide the districts with the tools. I know that in food service director land, many times we look at the State Department as somebody with a clipboard that's out to kind of get us a little bit. And we don't, this is probably one of the best state opportunities that I've had to interact with, where they're just saying, no, that's not what we're about. We're out to make sure that, yes, we want our districts to succeed. There are rules, there are requirements, those can't go away, but we're here to give you the tools to do it and to really just walk alongside you and sit down with you. I mean, I can't think about how many times I've called Deidre and she's like, I can't talk right now. I'm sitting down with my staff people and we're going through step by step what we can do to help bring this up to speed. So just a really amazing team. And what I want to just really do is encourage those of you who aren't part of the South Carolina state, reach out to your directors and provide that feedback. Give them the information that they need to hear in order to support you, because they're there to serve. They're there to help one another. And really, if there's any sort of fear or disagreement in that relationship, it's just a mismatch of expectations. And I think as long as everybody can get out and communicate and call and say, I don't feel like I have the support in this area, or I don't feel like I have the tools in that area, get together and collaborate, because they are, and maybe I'm speaking for you, but I think you've kind of already said this, Deidre, but you guys are eager to hear that feedback. You want to know what you can do to help. You want to know the space that you can give to them. And so I just want to give a big shout out to Deidre and all of the efforts that she's been doing. She's been busier than heck, and just trying to help everybody stay on their feet. And especially through this hard time, they took the year of COVID and turned it around and said, you know what, this is an opportunity to get a rug underneath the feet and really support. Let's find a grant. The whole world doesn't have to freeze. We'll create a grant if we need to, and make sure that our teams have the support they need. So please reach out to your states. Please reach out to your districts. Get together, see what you need, collaborate, and pull together a great plan. And so just thank you so much for dedicating your time to this, Deidre. It's been such a pleasure to work with you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
We love having you. So we're going to take a little 10-minute break here. We want to give you a little chance to breathe before we get into our lunch session. So go grab your lunch and join us in the next session. It'll be coming up at the half hour. And Laura and I will actually be talking to you. We have a couple of tips and tricks, tips and tricks for, keeping your cool with the busy job that you have. You truly are all superheroes, working every hour of every day, thinking about it every hour of every day, and really trying to find a way to get yourself back on your plate with all that exhaustion. Dale said it earlier, we're all a little bit exhausted, and we've got great people who are willing to help us, like Deidre. And so let's figure out how we can utilize those relationships and those tools that we have to bring ourselves back onto the plate and recover a little bit before we get into the fall, and so that we can handle this fall well. So everybody go take a break, go grab your lunch, and we'll see you right back here at the half hour. Thank you all.
Thank you.